trying to say I don't want to work anymore. Nobody should have to work for shit. I don't want to sit here just to consume things endlessly. I figured I'd live my goddamn life, the short life that I have while I'm here on this planet. But a lot of you are just miserable fucks. You insist on going to work to make money, to buy things. Maybe I'm a simple man. I don't need a PlayStation 5, a PlayStation 4, a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 2, a PlayStation 1. Just give me a fucking console that I can play video games on, for fuck's sake. Maybe I don't need to go out to eat every single night or live in this massive mansion, just give me enough good food to fill my belly and a fucking warm place to call my own that's quiet. Maybe I don't need to be around a bunch of people that, I'm expected to compete with. No, we're all working together. We're all on the same team. We're all trying to achieve the same goals together. Not this ridiculous shit. Well, I'm on my own and you're on your own and I won't help you and I know you're not going to help me. Projection. I think it's crazy to have this whole story, scenario, thing written out in your imagination. And I think it's more concerning that many people are not living here in reality. They don't know what's going on around them. They don't even really know how they feel. They're waiting for somebody to validate them or negate what they have to say so that they can think, oh, well, maybe I am acting a little irrational. The group is thinking differently, so I'll just go along with however the group is thinking. And what the group thinks is fucking ridiculous. We're gonna work for the rest of our lives to pay for things. No one will get to own anything. You'll get to work for 60 whole years of your life. It's a beautiful system. And really it isn't. It's fucking the worst system I've ever dealt with. Oh yeah, you don't get shelter when you graduate. You just have to work to buy it, hopefully. Oh, you don't get food when you graduate. You just have to work to buy it, hopefully. Oh, you don't get medical care after you graduate. You have to pay for some fucking insurance and the insurance will deny your claim. Hopefully you just make a bunch of money for these rich people and die quietly. Oh, well, they want shelter and they want food, water, and medical care. God damn it, you're cutting into the record profits. Matter of fact, why don't we lay off a bunch of them? How's that sound? This is going to be a nice restructuring for the, team. It's crazy how Donald Trump got famous for saying you're fired. But the reality is most, businesses won't even say those words to you. They use terms like laid off. Maybe you come back restructuring and, somebody's getting moved from one assignment to another, i.e. fired. They got a whole department, human resources, that deals with firing people and wording it in a nice way. And months after, you're still begging for the person's reference, like, please, I just need this reference for this next job. Like, yeah, he just wasn't meeting performance, fucking whatever. And a lot of the people who get fired are like top performing people. I seen a video of a man get fired. He is hitting all of his sales, performance, whatevers, and he just hadn't made a sale for like a couple weeks or some shit. And they're like, yeah, so you're not really meeting the level that we need you to meet. You're like, what do you mean? I'm fucking higher than anyone else in the entire department. They're like, yeah, we gotta let you go. Work on another assignment. We don't ever talk about celebrities as having a drug addiction. These people smoke meth, you guys. These people do cocaine. These people do heroin and fentanyl. These people are popping perks and drinking mad amounts of alcohol, more than you guys will ever know. When you get into such industries, you pretty much get an all-you-can-eat buffet of whatever you want. Men, women, God for fucking bed children. You get in the drugs, you get in the cars, you get in the clothes, you're getting whatever the fuck you want. You just have to stand on your mark when it's time to stand on your mark and perform the part that you've been hired to perform. Are you a journalist and you're reading the news? Well, perform that part. Are you an actor? You're playing a role? Well, play that part. Are you a musician? Well, then play that goddamn song and shut the fuck up about politics. Shut the fuck up about religion. Make that money for them. Dance, monkey, dance. The moment you sign that contract, you're just a puppet on a string. I saw a video of this boat kid from some indigenous village from somewhere in South America, and they had him at the Daytona event doing his dance at NASCAR. His dance is a Fortnite dance. Hopefully he made a whole lot of money off of this dance, and at least the people in his village are eating good or whatever because of him. But you guys should have seen this kid at Daytona. He looked so fucking unhappy. He was going through the motions, but the energy wasn't there, the love wasn't there. They had his face hidden behind these big old sunglasses so you couldn't see his eyes at all. Because if you could see his eyes, you'd probably see the fucking tears streaming down his face. He'd probably thinking to himself, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this right now. Because a lot of times these things happen in the moment. It's an authentic representation of who that person was at that time. But then people just want you to do that dance and do that dance and do that dance. 3-4 years you do that same dance. It's why people like Gary Coleman didn't want to say, "What's up, Willis?" It was just a line in a TV show, and everybody wanted him to say that line and say that line and say that fucking line. It's why Home Alone never did the Home Alone face, Macaulay Culkin, because then it just becomes this thing where it's like, do the face, do the face, do the face, Macaulay. Will you do the face for us? Come on, Macaulay, just do the face one time. A lot of people came real far just to see you do the face. Do the face. If you're someone like Michael Jackson, you had it beat into you that you must perform great or die. You must perform great or be whipped. You must perform great or you don't eat. That was Michael Jackson's childhood, and this guy tried to grow into a normal individual and do the things that he didn't get to do as a child, and they called him all sorts of crazy things. He was accused of all sorts of crazy things, but you watch a Michael Jackson interview and you feel the man's energy, you see the soul in his eyes, and that soul hasn't left just because he made a bunch of money. He tried to tell us the truth. He tried to tell us the truth the whole time. If you listen to Michael Jackson's music, even into his later years, he's telling you guys the truth this whole fucking time. He's a slave to the rhythm. He didn't want to spend his energy putting it out into destructive things while he was here on this earth after, being an unwilling participant in a destructive system. Jehovah's Witnesses and an abusive father and a mother that ignored the abuse. Brothers and sisters who grew up with the abuse, with Michael Jackson, and they all try to joke about it. There is a time where Michael Jackson was being questioned on his, difficult past, and he stopped the interview. And he told the interviewer, he's like, "You're making me relive this trauma. Could we talk about anything else?" There's a lot of bad interviewers out there, and they poke at you, and they prod at you, and they know you don't have media training like other people do, so they try to get you to say some crazy shit in the heat of the moment. And a lot of people in the heat of the moment, they just start dropping gems. And the interviewer just looks like a piece of shit. You got to be careful of people who have a way with words. They can turn the tables on you mighty quick.